is up, y'all? HorrorLand Television being brought to you for the first time on location at the Deadhorse Saloon in
San Angelo.
That's right, in San Angelo. I was going to say, it's not a saloon, it's the Deadhorse. Thank you for that. Because I was messing up. I was going to drag it out and say, okay, damn it, shit, it's not a saloon cut, but you fixed it.
I'm sorry.
No, you did great. You did great.
Okay, yeah.
The woman yelling to my right, that is Lezlie Deane, the iconic Lezlie Deane. How are you doing, man?
I'm doing awesome. We've had a great time here today.
I hope you have. We've had a great event today, and we're just blessed for the folks who did show up, come hang out with a group of people that are just phenomenal. You know, they always say there's just something to like a horror family.
Yes.
And I think that's true, right? So, I mean, you get people in a random town. Now, you're out of Dallas, Texas. Corsicana is where you're born.
Yep.
Yeah, and so you get to travel within Texas, come hang out with us here.
Yep.
What's the vibe like in San Angelo? How do you feel?
Cool as shit.
Yes.
That's why I have these sunglasses on, right?
Right.
It's like we're all cool. And we're the famous Deadhorse Saloon.
I think you keep saying saloon. I think I'm fucking ruined.
No, I think it's...
No, it's not.
No, I think it is
No, we're checking with the judges. It's not saloon.
I don't give a fuck. It's saloon.
It is now because that sounds so much better, right?
Saloon is like I'm going to kick your ass.
Okay, let's talk to Little Dog. We'll see if we can get that shit changed over to
Is it saloon or bar?
That's Deadhorse.
Yeah, see, the judges say that's a negative, Alex. There's no points, and you
Okay.
can no longer move forward on the board.
We're at the Deadhorse.
Yes.
That's a Deadhorse.
So, you made your name back in the day in the 80s.
Back in the day.
Is that insulting? Is that insulting?
What?
Alyssa, come on. Is that insulting?
Yes.
No, have my back a little bit. No shit.
Okay.
So 976 Evil. We'll start there.
Okay.
No date. Made in 2022. Don't Google it. It's accurate.
1990. What? No,
So-
that was Freddy's. 1989, I think.
See, you
It was back in the day.
can't
You
jump
gotta say back in the
you
day.
can't jump my ass
Yes, I
and then
can.
forget dates.
Yes, I can. I can. I love you.
That brought you here
Go
to
on.
San Angelo, Texas, though.
Yeah.
It did.
It
It's a
did,
great
and I'm
moment.
very, very happy
So,
about that.
you know, with that, we always talk about the experiences and everything going through that process. And what got you to that point? What got you to 976 Evil? Why did you want to do that?
Well, I went from Hearst, Texas to LA, and then I went into an interview.
A little bit of a jump.
Yeah, right? It was like a, I don't know, 15-hour jump.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went into an interview with Robert England, and we read, and then it was like a 3-hour interview because there was another girl that was up for the role.
Sure.
And they couldn't really decide. Candy Cooper, which I think she did other things, and she was such a great girl. But we went back and forth, and I finally got the job or the role or whatever, which was my first film. And
So were you doing television or anything before that? Or are you seriously straight out of Hearst to LA to boom, 976
I
Evil?
did one thing with William Shatner for T.J. Hooker, and he was actually the director on that, which was cool. So, I mean, that was really like that was a big step for me. And also it was Robert England's directorial debut. So we were sort of like virgins walking into this movie thing.
Did you know Robert England at that point?
No.
So you had no idea that was Freddy?
I had no idea. I had no idea, and I will say this, I still haven't watched other Freddy films, and I know I suck for doing that.
The shame!
I'm so sacrilege.
I sit there and called you a scream queen, and fucking hell, you ain't seen another Freddy movie.
But I'm still a scream queen.
Damn right you are. Own it.
I
Own it. Run with it.
Yeah, I will.
So, you got the part.
Yeah.
What do you do with it? I've never been able to ask
I
that
shit
kind of
my
question.
pants.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I was like, oh
I'm
crap.
like, what the
It's
fuck
like,
do I do?
are you living on what is the old
Living on
thing?
the
Living on the
edge?
streets in 80s LA and you're didn't know where the hell you're going. I'm not saying.
No.
Didn't go there, it was all you.
No.
Yeah. I mean that's probably what I would have been doing.
No, you
Because
wouldn't
I'm
have.
weak-willed.
Dude,
But either way, living on the streets over there in the 80s.
I wasn't living on the fucking
it's,
streets.
it's a better story.
Okay, I was living on the streets
Thank you.
in the alley in Santa Monica Boulevard.
Hanging out with Axl Rose.
Wait. And I wasn't a boy on Santa Monica Boulevard, so I really had a hard time trying to make a living. Do you want to keep going?
No, ma'am. No, we're all
Oh my
good.
God.
So, but you get that call though. So again, you did something with Shatner. That was just pretty cool, right? Because it's Shatner.
Oh my God, he was a director, and I actually auditioned with him, and he's like, hey, Lola, what do you think? I'm like, fuck, I don't know what I think. What do you think? And he's like, okay, you're hired. Because I'm like, I don't know, the whole the cool thing about me going to LA is I didn't really know who anybody was.
Sure.
So I didn't like get nervous or like go, oh, I didn't know who anybody was. So it's like
There was no pressure.
there was no pressure. It's like everybody, we're all people, right? So you just sort
So
of
let's
go along in life as like me bullshitting with both of you guys.
let's back up a little bit though, because why was there no pressure?
Because I didn't know who anybody was.
Right, but I mean, you know, but you took a fucking hell of a leap to go from Hearst, which is how big at the time, back in 1884.
20,000 people?
Right, 20,000. I mean, to LA, that's a hell of a jump.
Yeah, it was, but it didn't really
It didn't bug you.
It didn't bug me. Well, at that point, I was a national champion speed skater that should have gone to the Olympics, but they didn't have
In fucking Texas,
roller skating in the Olympics. Yeah.
Oh, roller
yeah,
skating. I
roller
was saying that's the
skating.
best bad
I
shit.
mean, that's something that I worked for
right.
10 or 12 years growing up, going, I'm going to be an Olympian. I would have been like probably a gold, silver, or bronze medalist in the 500 meters. So that was my whole mindset. Then I'm like, I'm just going to move to LA. You know, it's sort of like Johnny Depp sort of had the same thing. He was a musician, and he just sort of like fell into acting.
Yeah, Tom Petty told his story.
Yeah.
I remember that whole
Yeah.
song. It was about Johnny Depp, right?
I think
Yeah,
so.
so, but I mean, Alyssa, I don't know where you're at in regards to understanding athletes.
She's
but,
young.
No, but that's that athletic mentality. I think that's how that translates
Just
over.
go.
You just fucking go, right?
Yeah.
Right. So
Are you an athlete?
No.
Not
Not at all.
No, but she's
No, not at all.
It's like,
So let me ask you this: did you seek out the role, or did it kind of find you?
Everything always found me, and it's sort of like if you want to think about quantum physics or anything like that, because that's what I'm into now. You sort of look like at power versus force, and what that is like power is that, or force is that thing going, I'm going to do that, I'm going to do that, I'm going to do that, and the power is just sort of like you're living your life and you're doing whatever, and you're like you're taking the waves and you're doing this and you're doing that, and that was sort of like me during that time of like I was there going, I'm going to be an actress, I'm going to be an actress, like the first day I rolled into town in LA, I got a job with GQ magazine. I'm like, but I'm 5'3". They're like, it doesn't matter. I'm like, okay. So that sort of set the mentality of like, oh yeah, that's that. It's that wave. Does that make sense?
yeah, no,
That
you
wave.
showed up, and I mean, and you were
You
successful.
showed up.
You didn't have to work hard for it. That's a story that every person, goes after.
2 minutes? Okay. I don't know if it's like not working hard. We
No,
all
I was
work
being
hard.
sarcastic.
So am I. Yeah, but no, you go and you do. And
So-
that's sort of like how it
Let's
happened.
talk about after 9/76. So you did 9/76, which was like a huge thing for you. I mean, at that point,
Yeah, it popped my cherry on movie.
it ran with it. So then you moved forward. So what did you expect after 9/76? Because that's the thing is you get there, you shoot it, you're this big somebody. Now what?
I expected to be a star, but then I didn't suck a lot of dick in Hollywood.
There you go.
I'm sorry, that's not a really nice thing to say, but
We don't give a shit about that.
I
Because
just fucking play the game.
It's the truth. And I was going to say, I didn't get a chance to comment on this
I'm sorry.
earlier, but I was going to add, you're talking about being a speed skater.
yeah,
I know that you were huge in the roller derby world.
I was a Dallas Cowboy cheerleader.
You are so basically what it boils down to is you're a competitive bitch through and through.
Yeah.
And which most competitive bitches don't take any shit.
No, I didn't.
And you feel like that just kind of did it. I don't want to say
Well,
it
Jack
hurt you,
Nichol-
but did it make you a
Well,
better
Jack
person?
Nicholson sort of like laid it out to me when he was a backer of our band's musical.
Which was Femme to Femme back in,
back in London, and I'm like, dude, I'm not gonna have sex with you. I'm not gonna like snort coke off that table that you're doing. How long is it gonna take me to make it? He's like, a really, really, really long time. So.
That's a great Jack Nicholson though. That was
No,
part of the point.
actually, it wasn't.
But I mean, honestly though, I mean, balls. You stood up what you were, to what you wanted to do, and you weren't going to compromise that.
Nope.
And I think people don't see that. They see these stars back in the days who just do whatever it takes to become number one. You didn't do
I didn't.
it. And now you can sit here with pride and say for the fact you didn't fucking compromise.
I can sit there with pride and go, fuck, man, I could have been living in a mansion over there, but that doesn't really matter. I'll find another way to live in a mansion. I'll probably write a book.
So people out there listening to HorrorLand and everything, just real quick, finish it up and say,
Don't
all
suck
right.
dick.
There's your advice.
Don't suck a dick.
There's your advice from Miss Lezlie Deane coming to you. Hey, be sure you go check her out everywhere. You can find her. Can they find you online?
They're just
All the
gonna
old
find me on
movies.
Facebook, and I'll probably be banned from this ship from the rest of my life.
Hey, not here. You won't. All right, that's us. That's hanging out with us. HorrorLand Television from Deadhorse, not
Right.
Saloon, by the way.
God damn it, you won.
Yeah.
Bye.
Hey, what is up? Welcome back to it. This is HorrorLand Television coming to you live from the Deadhorse in San Angelo, Texas, at the first ever meet and greet. Want to give a big, shout out to Sheridan Authentics, by the way. Yeah, give them a big round of applause, man, for doing what they do. We're so proud to be partnering with those guys, and of course, everybody else who showed up tonight for a hell of an event. And we're just glad to welcome to the center stage Miss Lar Park Lincoln.
Thank you.
What is up?
So much. Thank you.
So glad to have a Texan here hanging out with us as
That's
well.
true.
Yeah, we're keeping it real here in Texas.
I am Texas.
You know, we always dream about having like this Texas horror verse. You know, where it's like all just
Well,
tied
we're
together.
known for horror movies in Texas.
I think so, right? I mean,
Acting lesson 101 is learning how to scream.
that's it. Well, I mean, you are one of the, and I've been calling you this like last month, one of the OG scream queens.
Yeah.
You know, in case y'all don't know, she was Tina in Friday the 13th. That's, I mean,
Yes, the telekinetic powers.
yeah.
Oh, watch it here.
See, I'm knocking down. But you know, the cool part about that, before you get into coming to that part and doing all that, you just now are able to revisit that part, huh?
I brought the character back to life 30 years later and was in on the process of casting me back at that time.
Right.
So it was
So
great.
you got to sit in the chair and figure out.
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
yes, because I do some casting,
Right.
and things like that. So it was wonderful getting to watch the tapes, who had the closest version to Tina's eyes and emotions and whatnot.
Is that not weird to sit there and look and say, all right, I got to cast myself playing somebody else?
Yeah.
I'm a dude playing a dude who wants to be another dude. You know,
Not
kind of
so
moment.
much. Jessica Hoffman played me as young me, and she was very, very good at it. I was really happy with her performance.
And that, of course, that Oprah shameless plug
Oh,
is
yes,
called.
the name of it.
Right, yeah, we should get the name of it.
Hello.
You
It's
know?
Roseblood, and it's a free film on YouTube because it was a fan film. So it's completely free. It's a full film, 90 minutes.
90-minute film for free
Yes.
on YouTube. So make sure,
Yes.
after you subscribe to us, by the way, you
Right.
go over there and you go ahead
Go in
and.
those that order.
Yes, ma'am, yeah. Subscribe to us.
And then
check this
subscribe
out.
to me, and then go to that.
Alyssa, do you like the subscription as well? We'll just give them all out.
I have no subscription, but I would like to
We're gonna work on that. We're gonna get her a-
television as well. And
Yeah. We're going to get her a subscription. So let's talk a little bit about that, because again, you had a great run through the 80s with a lot of movies. Now, I did not realize it at the time, but I first discovered you through House 2.
Okay.
We talked a little bit about that
Yeah.
a while ago. And then, of course, your big one was Friday the 13th.
Yes.
So how was that experience?
Shooting it, auditioning for it. When we auditioned for it, it was under a fake name, so fans and people couldn't see it. But we also didn't
Well, so
know.
you didn't know.
No, I didn't know at the time.
So like Ski Mask Killer didn't.
It just didn't read that way, you know, it really didn't. And of course, since I was 19 for 10 years.
Right, of course,
Right.
naturally.
I was actually married during the time I shot the film, and lucky for me, my husband and I were huge horror fans.
Okay.
And he's reading the scripts, helping me out. He's like, "This is Jason." I'm like, "I know." He goes, "No, this is Jason." He figured it out, and then I went into callbacks.
Yeah, well, of course, the script was like Jason Voorhees. They weren't very clever, but I mean,
No, it was no.
It was not.
It was another name. Kane. You have to ask Kane. He remembers all the names. He was completely changed.
Yeah.
So did that change things? Did that make it more exciting to
Yes.
know that it was a Friday the 13th
Yes,
film?
because I had watched them at the drive-ins and loved them. I'm a horror fan.
So again, though, but you're right though, the pressure. I mean,
Right.
because when
There
you're
was
auditioning,
pressure.
you don't know.
There was pressure from the time all of it was done to thinking about when it was coming out, being worried that the fans wouldn't like this character change, this massive change of this young girl that fights and defeats Jason. So that was really the nerve wracking.
So you said defeats, and I always want to bring that up when we talk about horror movies, because here's the thing. One of the false tropes in horror movies is they're misogynistic and everything, because there's nudity and there's
They are.
Well, okay, they are, but who are usually the heroes?
Usually the final girls, if
Exactly.
they make it. Yes,
Exactly.
if they make it.
And you're one of the final
Yes,
girls.
yes.
You're on that list.
Yes.
You know?
Claim
So-
to fame.
so-
the claim to fame that my children do not care about.
Do your children, do they watch film and they
Not so much.
No?
No.
They don't like it. Just
But
watch it.
they're just not into
That's
it.
not their thing,
I
huh?
have the studio, so
Yeah.
acting is.
How do they feel about acting?
My
Are they
daughter's an
interested?
actress. Yep, she's an actress, and she's worked since she was 8 months old. So that's cool.
So you've taken this experience, right? I mean, you're on several things throughout the 80s and the 90s and everything. You've always worked.
Yes.
And you continue, obviously, with the newest continuation of Tina.
Yeah.
So you're still
Yeah.
working, but besides that, you're also doing school,
Right. Right.
and you're writing, you're producing, you're doing all kinds of stuff.
Well, I haven't really produced,
Okay.
actually. I've done some directing. My school is Actors Audition Studios. So here's a new actress starting.
There you go.
So I work with those going into the industry as a profession, right? And
Yeah. And so, again, what do you look for, or what's your advice to these young actors, especially compared to the 80s when you were starting, compared to now? Have you seen the big jump, the big difference?
the biggest difference is in the way we communicate, of course, because we have email and we have Twitter, and we're able to actually get to the people that make the decisions. You know, luckily, young actresses today aren't dealing with as much with the Me Too situation.
Right.
I didn't find that to be a big issue in my own personal career. I really didn't. But it happens consistently across the board, but in many areas of life.
It can. I mean, and of course, it went through that. Hopefully, again, when you put these kids into school, is it wide open? Are you looking for a specific like acceptance, or is it just you come in, do your thing, we'll bring you in and we'll teach you? Or are you picky on who you?
Well, I'm a career coach and a mentor, so I'm not working with large groups of people unless I'm giving a talk. So I have a professional class for the professional group, and the others study with me privately until they're able to be bumped up. So I'm looking for actors, for people that are wanting, and teens and kids are my smallest group,
Right.
because you have to be really particular with that group. And so I'm looking for people that are trying to do it as a profession, not as a hobby.
When did you start acting? Actually.
Oh, acting.
Yeah. When did you start
Well,
acting?
this is year 47.
So, I don't want to do math for
Right,
this.
she's
and
like, what the hell?
I'm
Yeah.
not going to get yelled at again for age issues.
Well,
So-
that is a huge issue in our industry. Nobody, like I said, 19 for 10 years. That's
Well,
the only way you get more.
that's what I was getting at was, so if you started at an early age, which you did,
I did.
and so you understand this youth and what it entails to be an actress in this world.
Mhm.
You put that on your students. You knock that down and tell them, y'all, this is how it is.
The biggest issue for beginning actors is they have to understand persistence and consistency.
Right.
Because our business, you don't graduate and go like this. You work and work and work. You get a great role, nothing. And then you get a great role and a great role and a great role and nothing. And that will be the only consistent thing in your life, is that it's going to be all across the board.
Right.
Yeah, so you've just really got to train. You've got to really train. You've got to understand how to give your own, how to create your own marketing programs to find casting directors and people that are looking for actors. So you have to. So I focus on training and
Right.
marketing and talent.
How do you feel, because this is HorrorLand Television, obviously. I know, right? So excited, everybody clap.
Let's hear a scream of it.
Just us? Just us? Well, thank y'all. Appreciate it. All right, when it says quiet on set, you can clap when I ask you to. All right, so anyway. How do you feel the genre has moved since, let's just start at Friday the 13th.
How is it moved?
Move forward. I mean,
Well, we
progress.
shouldn't be ruining horror movies by moving too far forward.
Right. I mean, it's basic. It's a simplistic formula, right?
Yeah, and it's fun and it works. It's
Bad
It's
guys,
just
good
fun.
people.
Yeah.
I mean, it's bad guy, good people. One person or
And
three
it's not
survive.
easy to run through the woods screaming. Everyone thinks it is. In October, I always do a class on screaming.
That's harder than.
It's so hard.
I see that you're listening. I'm in on that one. I'm in on that one.
Yeah, it is
Talk
hard.
about listen, how hard is it to scream? And your first time, that's your very first role. You're screaming all over growing in Texas.
I didn't really have to scream because
that's right.
it's to do it like on the spot is harder than
It's funny how that's a class within itself, right?
It is, because
Yeah.
you can't be up here in your voice with this horrible girl scream, and you have to protect your voice because you're going to scream for 12 hours again the next day. So yeah, you melt a cough drop in a cup of hot tea.
That's also great advice for wives with crappy husbands. By the way.
If they're screaming.
Yeah, it's just a cough drop and some tea. You can be screaming for a
Yeah,
long
melt it in there.
ass time.
It'll help.
Well, Lar, again, what advice would you give to? We always ask this question, or we always now, because it's our first time we've been able to sit here now and do this. What would you give advice-wise to the young up and coming? Excuse me, I can't talk because I'm not an actor. Up and coming artists, young ladies coming into this business. What advice would you give to them?
I think it goes across both sexes, honestly.
Yeah.
Because there's roles for all of that. And the best advice is you've got to find a coach that can really push you into going towards the area that you want to go into. You've got to find that coach in whatever city you're in or by Zoom or whatnot and stay in training.
Right.
That's really, really, really critical. And you have to have side jobs. You have to have something else in your life that you're passionate about. Mine's coaching. Some people might be cooking. Somebody it might be having their own fishing channel. But you have to find a way to support yourself as you go through these ups and downs. I'm glad I didn't just teach you. So anyway, you also have to know how to get rid of the new girls.
Graceful.
So that, they don't
there
get
it
the lead.
That right there is acting 101, I tell you. So give yourself a shout out. Give your school a shout out.
Actors Audition Studios.
Yay!
There you go.
Yay.
All right, there you go. Lar Park Lincoln, everybody. HorrorLand Television at the Deadhorse. We'll catch you guys after all this.
Hey guys, it's HorrorLand Television. We're live back here at the Deadhorse with the legendary Billy Pon.
Is that shit good?
Yeah, it's a good damn booger.
Billy Pon, everybody. Thank you. Good night.
What's up, my friend?
So Billy, what made you decide to write Circus of the Dead, and how did you come up with the craziness that is Circus of the Dead?
First off, hold on.
What was
Before he
going through
before he
your
gets to
head?
that fucking point, I want to say this. And I've said it before. If you watch one of our shows, you understand this. I'm gonna say it from the heart. This is a sick motherfucker. I'm gonna put that out there. Get go. By the way. Now,
That's a good question, because I wanted to be challenged with, everybody does clown movies.
Sure.
And they're cheesy and hokey and all that kind of stuff. And I said, what if you did one and it wasn't? Because I feel like any movie I make is I use this blueprint of what's been good throughout life in movies, dramas, rom-coms, whatever. And I believe that there was a good clown movie somewhere and you didn't have to cram them all into cars, and you didn't have to do the honk, funny stuff.
Right.
You could they were just clowns who happen to be serial killers and they're off fine. But it really is Captain Spaulding from House of a Thousand Corpses inspired me, because I just thought it was so cool. Now, where he had cheap shoes and cheap makeup and all that, I said, well, what if these guys are really in the circus? So then I did my research there. So it's just basically...
Was that like a 23andMe thing? You finally found something there?
Yeah, exactly like that. I just knew doing my research and doing it right. It's like, clowns don't have makeup on their top lip and stuff like that. Just trying to get it the right
Which
way.
is probably details nobody fucking just now thought about.
Well, no, and I learned about that, you guys, because I run a haunted house called Circus of the Dead Murder Maze. And that's where the backstory kind of come, and I started coming up with the idea. And what's cool is these local clowns, Greenie the Clown, railroaded this petition to boycott my haunted house from opening up because she said I gave clowns a bad image. And this is a true story, Liz, I swear. And it come to the point where CNN was going to come down and cover it and all that. And at the last minute, they decided not, because it would give me more press.
Billy, a funny story. So when I was a little kid, I used to look in the phone book and prank call Greenie the Clown.
Oh, get out of here!
Oh, shit.
We're connected.
So you're the reason that they hate Billy.
And I think she might be dead now.
And Clinky the Clown too. Do you
Clinky.
remember that?
So that shit was in the phone book?
Yes.
Yeah, well, like
I was
for real,
Greenie
yeah,
the
yeah.
Clown in the phone
Like
book in
Yellow
back in the
Pages?
90s.
Yellow
Crazy.
Book.
Yes.
Yeah.
I didn't know you could just like, hey, I'm looking for, I don't know, Clinky the Clown.
So they're all after me, in the late 90s, early 2000s. They were going to come out there and boycott, but they chickened out at the last minute. So I just wanted to make a movie that wasn't cheesy and that would be taken serious. And if it does have humor, very dark humor.
No, it definitely does. And in case you haven't seen it, understand what he's talking about. It's Circus of the Dead, by the way. And of course, like I said, we reviewed it on HorrorLand Television in some previous episodes. But I'm telling you, I don't have the biggest, I guess, portfolio of horror movies under my belt as compared to some of the guys we talked to, dealt with, like the indies and all that. But I will tell you, Circus of the Dead is one of the most, in my opinion, straight up, not because some bitch is sitting right here, but it's one of the most underrated horror movies I've seen in a long time. That shit is brutal. And with all horror movies, though, Billy, it does have that social undertone to it.
Oh, it definitely does. But like I said, it's underrated because people see a title or something like that and they might, steer away from it, steer clear of it. Circus of the Dead was only done because of George Romero and I was going to pay tribute to him.
Sure.
And then I wanted to give somebody a rope-a-dope where they think it might be a zombie movie and it's not, because as a filmmaker, I like to think of myself as a conductor of a symphony. Okay? And every part of the movie is I try to take them on a ride with the editing and the sound and the visuals and what's going on, the acting and all this. And that's what I was trying to do with that. I do think it's underrated.
Yeah.
Do I think it could have been better? Absolutely, like a lot. It was my first attempt at a feature, but it does have something special. I think all good movies have heart.
Yes.
John Wick is a great movie, and you watch it because of the adventure and stuff like that, but is it considered a great movie? I don't know. I want a great movie. I want something that sticks to my ribs like gravy, you know what I mean? And,
Right.
and just, I never forget about, a day of my life.
So I come from the music background, and I've always wondered this about directors and people who write movies. I know when you write a song, you often want to leave up the interpretation of the music to the person listening. Is that kind of the same thought in movies, or do you want to tell them this is what we're talking about? Like, I want to steer them in that direction.
No, I think learning from Tarantino said in an interview the other day that Texas Chainsaw Massacre was the greatest movie ever made. The original, 74. And that's my favorite movie too. But that movie left a lot up to the imagination. It lets people figure all that stuff out on their own. It really isn't that gruesome. I mean, especially to today's standards, but it left more to the imagination.
Right.
So I want it to be like a song, a great song, and let somebody, watch it and just let it move them in some kind of way, in any
Let them
kind
find
of
what they want.
Yeah, but it all starts with a little bitty thing. My first short was Doll Boy, and it was about don't put material possessions before human life. This one was, don't take life and your family and stuff for granted because it could always be a hell of a lot worse.
That's right, and there we go with that social content.
That's where the movie started and ended with that right there. And as long as everything was based and written around that, then it would all be a whole piece. I asked where I think I failed. I think I failed on some of the acting in it, but I didn't want to hurt people's feelings and cut certain things and stuff. I hired a very, 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 very famous editor out of Hollywood to take a look at the film and give me some feedback. And it was really cool to hear what he had to say about the film.
Yeah.
And he actually liked it, and it blew me away that he actually likes it. It's
Well,
like
it takes some fucking balls to put your shit up like that. I mean, your artwork, your project, your baby. So you talk about the acting side of it, though. I'll tell you, Papa Corn, in my opinion, who is the main character in the movie, is an iconic horror character and should be expanded upon. We won't talk about all that, but he's an iconic, and you've got a hell of an actor, to play that character.
That's Bill Oberst Jr.
I mean, I'm telling you.
And I tell anybody who's out there is like, well, Billy, what do I have to do to make a successful film? I go hire Bill Oberst Jr. That guy he is money in the damn bank. That guy's so wonderful. But I will say this: what he brought to the character, what we wrote as the character, was the perfect storm. Lightning in a bottle. It was something that I'm afraid I won't get again in another movie. We'll see if that happens. But Papa Corn was me. It's such a fleshed out character. It was me. It was the dark side of me.
It's like, damn it,
Noodle
man.
Dome
Yeah.
was the side of me. Mr. Blister is the side of me. Jumbo is the side of me. It was all that mixed in with me and my writing buddy, Lee Ankrum, is with depression and all this kind of stuff, and our dark side. What if we didn't have a conscience? How would we act? What would we do? What would we say? That's where it all comes from. There's some other great characters in there. Paris Randall did a really good job as Dawn. That was supposed to be the everyman who was married and his wife cheated on him and all this kind of stuff. I wasn't privy to that. All I knew were I was a lonesome nerd that wanted to make movies, and that's all I had to write from. That's why I feel like I wrote that stronger character there. But what I'm trying in my new movies like Head Shop and
Right.
Six of the Dead 2 and Cowboys from Hell is to do better with all the characters.
Just
You know?
build that bigger character development
Yes.
and everything.
Yes.
Again, Popcorn, a phenomenal character, and again, the movie, I believe, highly on the list, I mean, if you would agree, that it's severely underrated.
She won't watch it.
She won't, I mean, but that's how good it is.
Never
though.
seen it.
No, but that's how good it is. It's so, again, the social content of it is there. And I bet you guys did know, paying attention to what Billy just said, the fact that there was so much thought put in to every aspect of a low-budget movie made in Midland, Odessa. You know, and who would have thought that there was that much of thought and heart and everything put into that movie?
Well, it's the best musicians, the best writers, the best poets, whatever. You got to put that thought into it. It's what you're passionate about. I'm not going to do it if I'm not passionate about it, and I'm not going to put out shit.
Right.
You know, if the shitty side, the great side of film these days is anybody can make a film. The shitty side these days is that anybody can make a film. Step up the game. I tell anybody, step up the
Right.
game. I will give anybody any advice, anything for free, anything. They can ask me about distribution and how you're going to get bent over and done the wrong way. I'll tell them about anything for free. All they got to do is write.
Right.
You know, I mean, you just pay it forward and stuff like that.
Right, and you had distribution hell. We're not going to get into all that.
Yeah, we need another show for that one.
Yeah, but you had, and so I guess the advice to young filmmakers, and maybe that's it. Just briefly run it down to them. Let's give advice to these young filmmakers out
I
there
got
watching
it.
us. What do they need to look for? What is the basis thing you need to look for in a film?
You want to make a film. I think the best thing that helped me is I made a fake trailer for a contest for when Grindhouse came out. Planet Terror, Death Proof. And you know they had a Hobo with a Shotgun War.
Yeah.
Right? And then he had a trailer contest for Hobo with a Shotgun, and I did Mr. Fister trailer. And then I started understanding, you know, writing things like John Kluger said he was sitting there looking at me at my table one time at a convention, and he come over and said, he goes, "That's $1 million idea, buddy." He goes, "That's pretty cool." And I was like, "What are you talking about?" And he showed me back here as Mr. Fister. I go, "Those just two dumb rhyming words that I did a fake trailer
Right.
on." But that's what it takes.
That's what it takes.
Starting out filmmaking, go make a fake trailer. 1 minute, 2 minutes. Because what that's going to do is you can get all your production wrapped in a day or two. Right? You can see where your friends that are actors or want to be actors, see where they're at. You can see where your camera guy's at, if he can film, focus, get audio, all this stuff. You can see where your editor's out. And you're doing it all over a weekend or 2 weekends. It doesn't take much, and it sees where you're at. Then when you do it, let's see what you suck at. And then you start replacing, well, if you're not good at something, find somebody that is. Or find somebody here. You make those connections and stuff like that. And then you grow together with the circle of your people.
Distribution's key.
Distribution's key.
Watch your shit, right?
But you're gonna get screwed over. I don't know what to tell you on that.
Yeah. Get through it. You got to get through it.
It's what he's talking about is you make a film and you put all your heart into it, and then you get distribution, and it's the profits are kind of tough to see sometimes, and they'll blame it too sometimes on your film's not good enough, or then sometimes there's just a lot of cost on there.
Right.
So luckily things are going pretty good with who I'm at now, but before this it was hell in a handbasket.
There you go.
It was a company that was set up to stop CD distribution companies, but that company, they're a what is it called?
Adjunct?
No. Anyway, they're the ones that put it on VOD and all that, but we got one payment from them, and then they skipped, went bankrupt, and never heard of them since. So we probably lost about $20,000.
There you go. Hey, that's Billy Pon. That's his TED Talk.
TED
For
Talk.
the- so, no, honestly, there's so much more you can learn from this man. You need to look him up. You need to watch Circus of the Dead. There you go. All right, y'all.
Thanks, guys.
HorrorLand Television, live
What's
from Deadhorse.
What's HorrorLand?
HorrorLand
I don't watch that
Television.
shit.
You should watch that shit.
I'm not watching
It'll
that
change
shit.
your life.
I'm not watching
Hey everybody, you're here with HorrorLand TV, and we're sitting in with Brian Clegg.
What's up, Clay?
I heard there was some dicks on it.
No.
No.
That's after the show.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
The advice was don't suck dick.
yeah. In case you missed it at the beginning of the show, Lezlie Deane made a point. Don't do it.
I didn't hear the no.
Yeah. No. See, there you go. I think that's part of the problem. We don't listen.
That's
I'm a
right.
man. We don't listen.
That's right. Hey, man, we're glad to have you, dude. Thank you for hanging out with us today. Obviously, it was a great event. All the folks showed up, and your booth specifically, I think I heard somebody kind of squeal when they went over to your booth for a minute, because I noticed that you're welcome, by the way. Remember that ABC? Saw it. Boy, you close it. Homeboy had a Spider-Man.
Yeah,
that
that
comic
made
in his bag.
Spider-Man.
I spied the comic book You know, and I was like, bro, you got to go see Brian Clegg. Now, why do they have to go see Brian Clegg?
Because sexy.
There's that, obviously.
And when it comes to like Comic-Con artists, you know, an artist alley, if you've never been to a comic book convention, there is a little known alley of art of people that are called Artist Alley. It's usually fan artists, you know, people trying to get into business and play comic books and stuff like that, and one of the best ways to do it is fan art. Well, what I've noticed in fan art situations is
He needs something
everybody's got 500 Spider-Mans, everybody's got Bon, everybody's got Captain America, everybody's got Batman.
Right.
And when it comes to villains, you can probably count them on both hands and still have some fingers left.
But there's way more villains than 10.
Yeah, like Spider-Man, he's got more than Venom and Carnage, right? Batman's got more than Joker and Harley Quinn and all.
Right.
So I took it upon myself to be a porn star and fill that hole. So if somebody wants Spider-Man, they get the Sinister Six.
Master of villains. And that's where it came from.
Yes.
And so you need to see these, and of course, you know, after the show, we'll flash some of his work on the show. It's phenomenal. So let's. No, not that work. Not, you know. By the way, if you want to see OnlyFans, it's under Big Natural Toe. So anyway, you need to talk about how you talk about how you came about this idea. Let's talk about the process of this idea.
Just
Drawing
focusing on the
it.
bad guys.
Yeah. So.
Just focusing on the bad
Yeah,
guys.
I mean, just the drawing, the printing, the hand drawing, the time that goes into them, the effort that is made, and I guess just the success, you know, in that work, go and go.
Success. I've been drawing my whole life, and I finally started doing Comic Cons around 2016. It's all about who you know, and I eventually fell into the right group. And I just kept throwing everything at the wall. You know, I even had a brief, depressing period where I did anime.
Oh,
Yeah, that was a
God,
dark
I wish you
period.
had just stuck with porn.
That was a dark period of my life. Yeah, hentai would have been better.
Yeah.
And about 2019, I came to a little crossroads. It was either quit or find something that I like. And I'd always drawn bad guys. And there were times when people would come up to my table and be like, ooh, the dark side.
Yeah.
So, well, I just draw the bad guys.
Right.
And then in Master of Villains, it was just, you know, a master in villains, so that kind of dressed out of there. I chose red as my color because everybody else has a black table. While not successful, it has grown a little bit of a fan.
Well, but I think that's cool because we live in a world now where the anti-hero is coming back, which again, Carnage, or not Carnage, should be Venom, anti-hero. You know, Birds of Prey has come out, Suicide Squad. You know, and you're gonna start to see more, yeah, the other one. Yeah, Marvel's going to come out with their own. Sinister Six is in development as well. We're talking movie-wise, by the way, right? Because it's HorrorLand Television. We're not going to dive. We ain't got time to dive into the comics. But what I'm getting at is that's a thing. I think you check the box at the right time because villains are a thing right now.
Yep.
They want the anti-hero or the villain. People can aim for the villain and feel and relate. A good villain is relatable.
Yes. Yes. I mean, there's a lot of bad guys, even in, you know, all over the place where you look at him and you go, this isn't a bad guy.
He's just trying to fight. What we talked about earlier, Mr. Freeze.
Mr. Freeze.
Yes.
You know, all he's trying to do is cure his wife. He needs funding for curing his wife. Nobody's doing it, so
He goes to the richest, smartest man he knows.
he doesn't intentionally go to him.
Sure.
You know, and the one person who can fund it without, you know, blinking an eye is also one piece of shit out of him all the time.
Right.
So who's the bad guy in this situation?
Depends what your perspective.
Yes.
I think it's all perspective, but we brought you on because I wanted to show the artwork and I wanted to show your talent because there are hand drawn, and then you computer color.
Yep.
For lack of an official term, you know, you put them through, but it's gorgeous. They are beautiful. I bought several myself actually off of you. You need to check these things out. Where can people watching HorrorLand find your work?
Brian Clegg, masterofvillains.com. And
That's a hell of an address there, bud.
well, it turns out there's another artist out there
Named Brian Clegg?
Yeah.
Shit.
And there's also a scientist.
It's probably a Brian name with a Y.
No, with an I.
Stupid.
Yes.
That's Brian Clegg, Brianclegg.
Very good.
I know, right? I saw the sign for like 6 hours staring at the sign. So give it to him one more time. Brian Clegg.
Brian Clegg, masterofvillains.com. I've got links to my Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, which will probably burn down to the ground, and various other social media sites.
Check him out. Brian Clegg, y'all.
How you
Come
doing?
on, guys.
We're from the Lezlie Corporation. I believe we spoke on the phone about a reality TV
Oh, you're
show.
gonna
where
see
we-
Jed.
Yes,
Yeah,
Jed.
son,
That's it.
come on in.
That's the guy. Really looking forward to this big production with you guys.
Oh, that's good stuff.
Should be
Jed, introduce yourself, guys.
Hey,
Hey, it's very nice to meet y'all.
nice to meet you. We're with the Lezlie Corporation. This is my associate. He's here just to kind of make sure everything works out the way it's supposed to.
Mean-looking guy.
Well, he takes his job very seriously.
Ah, you should. You should.
Yeah, so what we have is the contract, like I mentioned on the phone. Do you have any concerns?
Sounds
Anything
legit.
that you know?
Sounds legit.
Okay, yeah, this is going to be a big project. We're looking to make a lot here at Lezlie. Lots of viewership, lots of things. I hear you've got podcasts.
Oh, yeah.
Experience with this. Okay, that'll help out a lot. So there's also some issues. They're not issues. They're just items that we need to make sure we cover throughout the series. Now, what's your daily life like?
Well, I'm still in school, and so I have to do that Monday through Friday, and I'm in advanced classes, so I have a lot of, homework on the weekends, but my schedule's open for this. I've been wanting to do this forever. I've always dreamed of being on Lezlie, and this is an opportunity I really, really want to take, and I'm glad my loving father, who loves me to death, will allow me to do this. Thank you, Dad. I love you so much.
I love you too. I love you.
Keep us.
Don't cry.
Oh,
Don't cry.
it's okay, but he's the greatest man ever, and I'm so glad to be a part of this.
That's great. I'm glad you have such emotion.
Sir, do you mind if we go out and set up some scenes? There's a few things I want to bring to your attention.
Yeah, guy. That sounds great.
Okay, that sounds great. You guys take it easy, and I'll go over the outline with Jed here. Okay, so here comes, I'm pulling the contract now. It's a bunch of legal stuff. Okay, so here's the general outline that we're gonna I'll go over. So here's where we start your house,
All right, that sounds good.
and then here's the part. This is gonna be a little bit difficult to shoot.
Wait. Does that say my dad dies?
Well, yeah, at Lezlie, when we do a production, all the great productions start with the one that the person cares about most dying. It's what makes that show.
I don't want to do this anymore. That sounds horrible. I don't want to lose my dad.
Well, your dad's already agreed to it.